Hello, 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 hello. How are you guys? Thank you so much for joining us on this month's Small Business Coffee Break Live. We're so excited to have our first guest, right? So the first one was me, which is kind of a little off, but now we have our first guest here, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear her story. This is MarlyQ Casanova, better known as MarlyQ, and she has an amazing business, and what a great story behind it, where she's basically turned kindness into a career. And so I'm going to let her kind of tell you what that story, kind of give you the down low. She's a keynote speaker. So there's just, I can't imagine a world where you turn kindness into keynote speaking. So there's so many questions, hopefully, that'll come down the pike. Marley, thank you so much for being here.
I am delighted to be here with you and with everyone watching. Thank you for joining us for this kind conversation.
100%, 100%. And there's a lot of kindness going on, right? So we're at our grounds, which, here they brew kindness. We have a kindness influencer with us. So.
This is my spot. This is like the perfect place to have a conversation. I'm all about it.
100%, 100%. So just a quick question, right? I'm an insurance agent, and most people ask me, it's like, did you want to do that for your whole life? And the answer is almost always no, right? But so my question to you is going to be, it's like, did you see yourself as like a kindness keynote speaker as you were growing up? Like, how did that transition happen?
Definitely not. The short answer is absolutely not. I was probably the last career I would have ever thought I would be doing is speaking to anybody publicly.
Wow. Well, I wouldn't have thought that I was on LinkedIn Live with a keynote speaker either. So we share that.
I guess the story begins. I actually delivered a TED Talk a couple of years ago where I shared this story of kind of how I became a kindness influencer. And briefly, if you're into TED Talks, I'm sure we can share that with folks. But
we'll put it in the comments after for the reading.
But the short version is I am the daughter of Cuban immigrants, and I came to this country when I was a baby, and I don't think that I would be alive if it wasn't for kindness. I think that kindness is the reason that we were able to plant our roots in Miami, the reason that, honestly, that we're alive. I think kindness is like self-preservation. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were kind to my family and to me when we first got here without a job, without a home, without anything. So I think that having really good parents that acknowledged kindness was really important in my journey. But it wasn't until I was about 10 years old that I think I owned the power of kindness for myself. And my teacher, my fourth grade teacher, one day just told me these 4 words I never forgot. She's like, kindness is your superpower. Don't you forget it. You don't need money or anything else outside of you to make a difference every day. I see you, how you smile every day, and that smile of yours brightens up my whole day. I see when you hold the door open for someone behind you, you push the chairs in after class to make sure nobody trips. She actually mentioned a few little things. You sit next to so-and-so and you share your pencils. And those small acts of kindness is what has the power to change the world. Don't you forget it. And from that moment on, I believed her. I believed that kindness was my superpower. And I was kind of secret about it, and I would just start performing acts of random kindness on purpose and kind of strengthening this muscle of connecting with somebody else, right? Whether it was just a smile or hello or finding a way to be helpful. I just started doing it on purpose. And once I got to high school, I had another great teacher who I think I'm a speaker today because of him. And he was actually sitting in the audience. Both teachers, my fourth grade teacher and my ninth grade teacher, were sitting in the audience of my TED Talk, which to me is,
whoa.
I found them and I'm like, sit right there. I got something to tell you about how important your acts of kindness were in my life, And my ninth grade teacher saw a little spark in me and encouraged me to be a speaker and speak in front of the class. And I was like, no, I don't do that. I can be your secretary, I can be a member, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to speak in front of the class. So anyway, he insisted, and I was unanimously voted as president. I ended up, being the student government president, the interact club president, all throughout high school. I graduated with like 5,000 hours of community service. I had done all the pep rallies. I just fell into event planning and fundraising and nonprofit work. It really wasn't. I've been speaking for over 10 years.
Wow.
And it wasn't only until about, I'd say really around COVID time that I just decided to put the hat on of I am a kindness influencer. I'm on, if you're going to take my business from me, which I should mention, I was an event planner. I made a living since I was in high school. And once COVID and kind of I became a parent, I realized that events are going away. So, but our creating a platform to connect with each other is never going to go away. Right. So how can I do this now? I started speaking virtually. I started doing yoga classes from the living room, and just decided to own the title, I am a kindness influencer, and I'm here to speak on this topic and how important it is for us to be kind and of service to each other. And I believe it's a superpower that we need to make the biggest change that we can in this world.
And it's so funny because I as I'm hearing you tell that story, I'm hearing the truth is that kindness is your superpower, but it was given to you by the kindness and the superpower of others, right? Your 4th grade teacher, your 9th grade teacher, like they poured their kindness into you, which gave you, what is it, red kryptonite. I think that Superman gets him like super strength, even more super strength. But what it is sometimes we don't realize the power of kindness, right? And I think so sometimes your intentionality. I'm hearing your intentionality of all these different steps. My parents are also Cuban immigrants, and obviously we can tell great stories about what had happened. We can also tell some very difficult stories. But you have been very intentional in your life to not focus on those complicated, difficult, unkind parts of that journey. But you've taken that the kind parts, the parts that it uplifted you, not only uplifted you, but uplifted your family, the people around you, your friends, and said, you know what, we can do this at scale, right? And so, but I have to wonder, right? How do you take, 10-year-old you, right? Kindness superpower. Going to do a TED Talk, which is a really awesome thing, but not something you really get paid for, right? How do you turn that into a business? Like how does that become like, hey, I want to help people, but no, I need, how do you get paid doing this?
Yes, that's such a great question, and one that I have been asked many times in my journey. As a matter of fact, I remember the very first keynote talk that I delivered was at FIU, which is my alma mater, Florida International University, and it was a student leadership summit. About 200 to 300 students were in the audience. And I talked about PARC. PARC is the acronym for my nonprofit organization and for my mission. What I believe I'm on this earth to do is to inspire you to PARC, perform acts of random kindness. And I was talking about PARC at this leadership summit, and there was a student in the audience who 6 years later is the person that called me, and I didn't know this person, says, hey, I was at this event where you were talking about, and I've never forgotten your message of kindness. I am the director for the Center for Leadership and Service, and I'm hosting this TED Talk at the school. You'd be the perfect speaker. Would you be willing to deliver a TED Talk? Mind you, I was pregnant, like Brent, first time pregnancy.
That never said all.
I was like 3 weeks or a few weeks into it. I'm feeling nauseous. I'm feeling horrible. My first answer was like, oh no, I'm not ready for that. I'm not prepared to do this thing. But I said yes. And I got myself ready for it. And if you actually watch the TED Talk, you'll see me like kind of hold my belly a few times. And this is me trying to breathe and not throw up or run off the stage. But the reason that I'm sharing that story is that that's the power of kindness. I spoke for free at that event over 10 years ago. It was 2013. And somebody in that audience remembered not just the acronym, but remembered how maybe my talk made them feel. And all those years later said, I know the perfect person to deliver this talk. And that TED Talk is really what launched my real keynote speaking career, where I actually get solicited invites and requests to go speak at events, at colleges, at universities, at businesses, to teams, right? So that's really how it kind of started. And
that's amazing. And it's cool because it's like, like most small businesses, what you found was a niche that wasn't being filled in a different spot, right? And so then someone saw that and says, oh wait, we can bring that into our organization because it's not already existing there, and gave you the opportunity to do that through public speaking, right? So I'm assuming that trade associations, corporate events. I love listening to your podcast. There's so much kindness that's brought into it, and we were talking a little bit beforehand about how being intentional with kindness actually creates opportunities in places that like you could never have imagined.
Never thought of it. Well, just the story that I just shared, I never had the intention of delivering a TED Talk. And that's what launched my paid keynote speaking career. I've been doing speaking for free over 100-something events. I've been speaking at career days and events and meetings and all with the purpose of just spreading this message. A friend of mine recently called me like, you're a trailblazer. You're like the pioneer kindness influencer talking about the importance of this, and I've continued like over 10 years of the same message. And what I find valuable in that, and the story that I just shared about the event, that one student taught me the TED Talk all those years later. Another student, at the end of my talk, I had a line of students. I'm bragging a little bit here. My first talk, I had a standing ovation and a line of people to talk to me. The last student that was in that line was a young man. He was in a suit, very nicely dressed. And he said, listen, I really loved your talk. I was impacted by it. But how do you make money as a philanthropist? What was his question? Straight direct. I looked at that young man. I'm like, buddy, I got no idea. So when I did my first talk, it still didn't connect in that moment that I can get paid to speak about this. So I wish I could tell that young man, just in case I'm putting it out there, like, this is how I was able to turn kindness into a career, is by really just following my passion, the calling that I feel I had, and putting myself in situations when you're kind, you're really not expecting anything in return. And every time that I've ever received something in return, that's the testimonial, is I never went into it expecting something in return. And I could tell you story after story after story of ways that I've been blessed, not just financially or with my business, but in like real wealth, quality relationships, meaningful conversations, impact with kids that I spoke at maybe their 4th grade class, and now they're graduating high school or in college and are calling me for things. It's like, wow,
Yeah, well, a little kindness goes a long way, and the reality is that in our businesses, it's kind of something we all kind of need a little bit more of, right?
I agree.
Sometimes what we're seeing on the news is well, let's be honest, news is clickbait, right? So they're trying to find a way, and negative news tends to travel a little bit faster. And as we're working in our businesses, I'm a local business. We're here at a local business, and these are real people with real lives, and they need to be impacted. If being reminded, that kindness can go that far is an invaluable ask. Like, me personally, I'll tell you a story where again, your content has done that. And I don't remember the acronym exactly right now, because obviously we're live and it won't come to me.
And I have a lot of acronyms.
Talk about, explain bragging, right? You just said it a moment ago, and I explained it in a group that I belong to, and it impacted those professionals in such a way. Explain what you mean by bragging.
Yes, I've done that. So part of what in my journey of embracing being a kindness influencer, using kindness as my superpower, in the very beginning, I was really secretive about it. Mm-hmm. I would try to find secret ways to perform acts of kindness and then not tell anybody about it. Because that's how I was raised. You're modest. You do things and you're not, you don't brag about that. Or if you do promote, your kind acts, you're being a brag. Like you're trying to get attention.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but we're back.
We're back. So bragging, I realized that in order to follow my calling and be fair to this mission that I feel was placed in my heart to do, mm-hmm. I had to get over this fear that I had of being a brag, or being labeled as a brag, or showing off. So I just redefined what brag meant. So brag is an acronym for be real and grateful. Mm-hmm. Because what I realized is that when I gave myself permission to brag and just share with people not how awesome I am, but how awesome kindness is, and how awesome these small little acts of seemingly trivial things can random can make a profound impact, not just in other people's lives, but in your own life and in the world as we're experiencing it together in this time and space. And once I realized that, how powerful it is, and every single time I gave myself permission to brag, to be real and grateful, I got to be a resource of abundance and growth. So brag, I just dropped 2 acronyms for you if you're following along. Permission to brag is be real and grateful, because when you exercise that courage to brag, you're being a resource of abundance and growth. Brag. And if your mission is really to make impact, to be of service to others, then let's think a little bit less about ourselves and how bragging makes us feel, and more about the impact that you having the courage to share, like who you are, what you care about, the impact that you're here to make. Brag about that, because that's always going to be a resource of abundance and growth for other people. That's amazing.
And looking at it from that perspective, as a small business owner, it's really hard to to brag about yourself, right? Like I'm like you. I was taught not to boast all the time, and so as we're trying to grow our businesses, if we don't do that, if we don't promote ourselves, then
you're out of business, my friend.
Yeah,
you're out of business.
We kind of have to be out there, but doing it from a place of gratitude it changes the shift, right?
Changes it completely.
Completely. So it's not so much that I'm talking about the amazing things I can do, but rather have an opportunity to be grateful for the amazing things I've been able to help others do,
yes.
right? And so then it helps me promote my business at the same time, reminding myself why I do this. And that that brings me to a comment we got on LinkedIn here real quick. Which was that you were awesome. You were able to take your unique ability and to build purpose around it, right? And isn't that what it's about small business owners trying to do, right? So they have a thing that they're good at, whatever that ends up being. It could be something like being a coffee shop owner or a pizza owner next door, or it could be a mechanic, or it could be a teacher, or a tutor, or something of that nature. They're taking that unique talent that God gave them, and they're turning it into something that's a livelihood, yes. Right? And how blessed we are that we get that opportunity to do that, right? And that's exactly the kind of story that we wanted to be able to tell. So thank you so very much for sharing so much about you and about what MarlyQ is doing. You can find her everywhere as MarlyQ. Instagram, her website. Please check out her podcast. Again, I enjoy it. I always get a good tidbit out of it when I get a chance to listen to Pops into my feed on CarPlay. But before you go, I know you're a girl of the 90s, right? And that's very, very clear. And there's going to be a part here that's going to be very TED Talk specific. Nice. So hopefully it will encourage you to go there. So we're going to play a little game of this or that.
I love it. I'm down for some fun. Let's do this.
Absolutely. So see what things from the 90s were those things that maybe were your specific, loves or dislikes, maybe. I don't know. We'll see which direction that ends up going. Give me a moment and I'll pop it up. So the first one's going to be, all right, NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys?
I love them both, but I was definitely more of an NSYNC fan. Yes.
I can say that neither. Personally, were my particular cup of tea. Mine would be like Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd, but
I like both of them. But Justin Timberlake. I mean,
JT.
I was a fan from day one.
Well, I'll say even JT. If you're watching,
those curls.
Yeah, dude. I mean, really.
I'm happily married, by the way. My husband's not a jealous fan. He knows how I feel.
You've made that clear, right? Absolutely. All right. Okay. Here we go. Bagel bites or Lunchables?
Oh my goodness. Lunchables. Whenever I got to have a Lunchables, it was such a treat. I was like a free lunch, reduced lunch kid. I did not get Lunchables a lot. So when I got Lunchables, I was like, yes.
Oh, it's so funny. I didn't do either when I was a kid, but my kids, I can see because these are two very popular things. So my kids started Lunchables, right? So elementary school, Lunchable all day long. But now that they're in their teens, bagel bites are a little too easy to take with you, right? And all right, here we go. Toy Story or Lion King?
Oh, that's so good. Ooh. For me, it's Toy Story. For my husband, it's Lion King. We have a different opinion there.
Oh, well, with me and your hubby, we get along. I'm not ashamed to say I know every lyric to every song of The Lion King. I sang a Weem Away in my car when I'm trying to feel better about myself. So
I love it.
It's cool that I get it. This is not falling. It's not flying. It's falling with style. So
yes, and Infinity and Beyond and all the things.
Absolutely. This one will be this one will hit you a little bit. Captain Planet or Power Rangers?
Are you serious? Without question, Captain Planet.
Captain Planet makes a special debut in her Tech Talk with
Yes. For anybody out there watching, if you're a Captain Planet fan, I want to hear from you. Put it in the comments. Be like, I'm a Captain Planet fan. Planeteers. Planeteers is my version of Parker. Like, if you're a Parker, you're a person that performs acts of random kindness. You're a Planeteer and not Captain Planet.
I have to. Here we agree. 100% Captain Planet. I like the cheesiness of it. I love the message of constantly trying to get out there and make the world better.
You know what I love? I just love this concept of Captain Planet. What I love most about the superhero is that he wasn't the superhero. Mm-hmm. The superhero were the Planeteers. These kids, they were teenagers from all over the world. When they came up with a problem that they wanted to solve, when they decided to make a difference and their powers combined, Captain Planet came to help them save the day. He didn't come in and be like, I'm the man, I'm here to save the day. No. empowering the young people to do it.
So hold on a moment. Now I'm going to brag on you a little bit. So aren't you kind of like the Captain Planet of kindness right now? I mean, you're finding opportunities where people, they want to be
Yes.
and bring this into their business, and you come in when they need that, and
Yes.
you're helping them get to that
Yes.
extra level.
Yes, I will take that. People call me the Queen of Kindness. I don't know. I don't receive that one fully. You can call me the Captain Planet of Kindness. I'll be like, yes,
100%.
I am.
Well, thank you so much for playing that with me and having a good time. One
That was
last
fun.
thing, real quick, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Our Grounds for A, letting us invade their space, B, for the amazing work that they do. If
Yes.
you're in the Kendall area, or if you're not, just make your way down here. I promise it's going to be an experience you won't forget. So hope to catch you guys next time. MarlyQ, we'll keep on keeping on and everything that we do. Awesome. Thank you, everyone.